world.
Oh, why hello.
It has its own world.
Now, are most of the lessons linguistic, or are they mathematic or science?
Most of them are in terms of language development, so they can actually talk, but we have many categories, many different subjects. For example, math, science, countries, culture. We cover many different categories to make sure they continue learning.
Elnaz says Roybi will eventually be able to teach foreign languages, initially using English language instruction to teach Mandarin Chinese and Spanish. The little bot can tell stories, and when buttons are pressed on the base, it can also sing songs.
How is this programmed? Is it programmed through a website or an app?
So it comes with a companion app, and the app is only for parents. The child interacts with Roybi. It has progress reports for educators and parents.
And just like all kiddos, Roybi knows when to call it a day.
Bye. Come back soon.
Hi, Jodi. Thank you for having me on the show. My name is Elnaz. I'm the founder and CEO of Roybi. Roybi is an AI-powered educational robot for kids aged 3 to 7 in language learning and basic STEM skills.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to talk to you. Again, it's one of those moments where whenever I see someone on TV or the news, I mean, I have a lot of wonderful friends that are business owners and innovators, but it's even better for me when I get to sit there and see someone on TV and I'm like, oh, I wonder what, I'd like to talk to her. And as a former producer, I'm like, I'm gonna reach out and just see what she says. So hello, my friend.
Hi, and thank you so much for having me and our little Roybi Robot on the show.
Oh my God, I'm so
excited to be here.
Yay, okay, so before we start talking about the robot, we have to know about you. So I wanna make sure that I pronounce your name correctly. So how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Elnaz.
Elnaz. Okay, so let's start there. Tell us about where you are. Well, where are you right now?
We are in California, sunny California.
Well, I have to say, like, I'm very, very happy because, like, I go right now, so I'm in New England, and I go, and it's really nice right now. And our weather goes back and forth. Sometimes, like in October, we had snow, like literally, like it looked like a blizzard, and then of course, then it goes from warm. So we never know what we're going to get until we wake up in the morning. So I love that you have the consistency of the beautiful weather in California. But
not always. It used to be like that, but not always. I feel like we have almost 4 seasons, except the snow in California. In the morning is winter. It gets to the afternoon, it's pretty much summer.
You know what? It's like, I don't care what anyone says. I know global warming is playing a big part of this. And it is, I mean, for us in New England, we love having our 4 seasons. But at the end of the day, those warm weathers where you could just put on a light sweater and go outside, you can't beat those.
That's right, absolutely.
Okay, so
again, you know, California always has one of the best weathers, so
yeah.
No complaint on that side.
This is true. Okay, we can talk about the weather all day, but most importantly, we have to talk about you. So tell everybody where did you grow up and how did you get involved? Before we talk about the business, how did you get involved in loving tech?
Sure. I really appreciate that you really care about the founder story, because I always believe that the story behind each product actually makes it even more unique than what people see. You know, it's just a hardware. No, there's always a story behind it. And for me, I was born in Iran, which is in Middle East, and I moved to the US about 15 years ago. But even back in Iran, you know, we're talking about 25 years ago, it wasn't really easy for women to build businesses, be involved and being the face of a business. Even back then, I was really interested in having my own business, being involved in technology. I remember when I was a teenager, a lot of girls in my age were taking like music, swimming, or cooking classes. I was taking classes to assemble computers, but it just fascinated me, and I studied art, and I think that really helped me to become a creative person. But at the same time, when I was back in Iran, I shifted my focus also to software engineering, and that really helped me to bring my art to life. And I continued all that. I actually even started a business back in Iran. It was so unusual. Nobody even took me seriously. So when I moved to the US 15 years ago, I was so excited to actually grasp this opportunity and build my dreams. And that's what I did. I started, continuing my studies in the US and continued to also build couple of businesses on the side, from freelance work to even going door to door giving flyers to people. And all those gave me a lot of experience. And before Roybi, I was a co-founder, one of the co-founders of a company called iBaby, which we have baby monitors. It's one of the best-selling baby monitors on the market. We made it to over 5,000 stores, even all Apple stores around the world. Very, very exciting work. And then afterwards, I decided to start my next company, which is Roybi. And
we're not going to go there yet. We're not going to go there yet, because you said so many beautiful gems that I have to dig a little bit deeper. So is there anyone in your family that is an entrepreneur? Because you've been talking about the artistry. So you love the art, you love technology, but you spoke so much about the entrepreneur steps. I mean, so did you grow up with it? Did you have family members that already put this in your mind, or did you just pick it up by yourself?
No, actually, that's a really good point. And I think your family or environment can really shape the way that you are, your personality. And for me, yes, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My father was running a couple of businesses back in Iran. But one thing I really have to mention is that although women were not the face of the company's businesses, my mom was heavily involved in my dad's business. And I always say it's the success of my dad is really related to my mom, because she was handling the operations, the finances, and my dad was just, doing the business, meeting with people. And I grew up that way within that family, saw all ups and downs. One day we were up, another day we were saying, oh my God, we're going bankrupt. All these things happen in business. And I think that really helped me to shape the person I am today.
It's so funny that it's funny and interesting that you even mentioned that. So I was in Morocco earlier in 2020, and whenever you went to the storefronts, there were a lot of men. And just out of curiosity, I asked them, like, why aren't there a lot of women that are in the business? And all the men said, the women own the businesses. The men are the front facing of it.
Exactly.
That was really, I thought it was so interesting. Not only that it was very clear and very open that people talked about it, but I thought it was very interesting about how a lot of men were saying, in a lot of cultures, when you're coming to visit, if they see women, they're not going to sit there and do business with the women as much in the countries. So if they see the men, they'll definitely come. The men are a little bit more aggressive, but behind the scenes, it's all the women all the time.
Yes, and I'm truly grateful for that opportunity, because I see my mom as my role model, and even to date, all the challenges, ups and downs in my current business, she's my biggest supporter, continuously saying, it is okay, this will pass, to move forward. I'm truly grateful to have my family backing my dreams.
So it was very interesting that you said that when you went to technology, people were kind of, what are you doing? You started in art, and then you went right into technology. So what was that like? What was that moment of, I mean, you're an artist. I mean, I'm a photographer. We see the world differently. We see the world differently. Sometimes people think that we're dreamers more than actuality of doing something. And so you switched over to technology. What was that moment that you decided to switch over to technology? And then what was that moment where you found a way to combine the both?
That's a good question. It's really hard to define the moment, but I think creating something is quite exciting and interesting. But for me, for whatever reason, I always wanted to see those creations live. For example, if it was just a website design, or it was animation, or then later my fascination became more towards the physical products. But I think it really started back in Iran, when I started meeting a lot of people with engineering background, and I started understanding my passion towards engineering. But also as an artist, I was able to do a lot of things. For example, I would take projects from designing wireframes to actually turning it into the actual, high resolution products or art, and then also code it. So that gave me a lot of opportunities. And then I got really excited about technology, because more and more I could see how it can impact people's lives and actually change it for better. And that's why I wanted to make a difference utilizing technology.
I love it. So who was your the mentor that you had? I mean, so your mom is your rising star, your dad is in the business world. Who was that person that, I mean, because again, entrepreneurship was always part of your world and the business world, but technology was not, coding was not. So who did you gravitate towards? Because was it a teacher? Was it an individual that you just sought after and that person became the mentor, your Yoda? So who was like that person that made it real for you?
Oh, that's a tough question. Because we're talking about like 20 years ago. I don't think it was a specific person, but it was a group of friends that I got to know. And for whatever reason, I also had a lot of male friends than female friends. I don't know why, but it just happened this way. And they were continuously talking about, engineering, coding, and a lot of fascinating things. And it just got me started into coding. And I really started liking it.
So now then you started like going into different businesses. Were you actually learning about coding and technology as you were trying out all the different businesses, or were you finding ways to use the tech to be involved? I mean, so how did that work? You graduated from school, you started that first company, or did you work for another company? So I want to learn now. I want to start getting to the path of the professionalism.
Sure. I think everything takes time and a lot of effort. Try, fail, and try again. But for me, it started on a smaller scale. I really started working more on print, digital print, or the actual print industry. Because again, I really like the feeling of physical product or book or brochures. But at the same time, I gradually started teaching myself some on coding. I think I remember I started with basic HTML, CSS, coding, and then I started building websites. And then from there, I started teaching myself more advanced programs. And then I learned that, for example, you have to learn C++, and that's a pretty old, programming language, in order to really create a framework of some interesting products and technologies. From there, I implemented my experience into my freelance work, or even a couple of companies that I opened. But through all those projects that came to me, it really forced me and pushed me to learn more. And what I constantly say to everybody is continue learning and enhance your skills, because everything changes. For technology, every day something new comes up and you have to continue learning.
I love that you just said that, because during this, and this is where I'm going to skip around in regard to my questions. During the pandemic, the world changed. I mean, everything about the world changed. And 10 years ago, the world was, again, we had a major hiccup, as I like to call them, a major hiccup during that time. Technology wasn't as strong as right now, but you have the Amazon, the way that Amazon is right now, dramatically different. Airbnb, Lyft, Uber, all those things didn't exist 10 years ago, and we had lack of technology. This time around, technology is stronger. A lot of businesses are still up and running, the ones that are actually, that you can do remotely. So what did it do for your company? Before we start like going into deeply what your company does, what did this do for your company 10 years ago? and what did it do now? Because the technology, just like you just said, it has changed dramatically, and it continues to change, and it continues to evolve, so that way people are able to do more than what's possible. So how has that change been for you?
I think one of the areas that we've been really lucky about is, our company is a global company. We have 22 people all around the world. And for the past few years, this has been the way that we've been working. So we pretty much got used to the fact that it is okay to have remote team members. It doesn't have to be always at the office. And that really helped us to deal with the situation, the pandemic situation, because we already had some, functionalities, rules and policies in place for remote work. But what I can see in terms of the shift, more in the past was more traditional business. And now is what I call it smart business, is that, everything is becoming more towards global online business. Even for us, although we have, retail customers or school as customers, we shifted our focus completely into new direction to support remote learning, remote work. And I see more of this is going to come over the next few years. We're going to see new technologies and new possibilities we didn't even think about in the past.
I have to say that I have been excited since the pandemic started. I have been so excited waiting to find out what's going to be next, because, and everyone's like, you don't know, like, if this could end tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know when the pandemic is going to end. And this is me in April. But all I know is working with small businesses and working with innovators and entrepreneurs all over the world. For me, the excitement is just like, I feel like this is Christmas for me. I'm like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? So
you're right, absolutely right, because it creates more opportunities. And even for us, for example, being in education, we are so excited. I know it is a very difficult time for parents, educators to really understand where the shift is going, but it's going to also create a lot of opportunities for the entire society, and it's really exciting, as you mentioned.
So let's talk about your product. You created this why, and I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna just ask, why did you create it? Because I have a little quick follow-up to whatever answer you give.
Sure. The main reason and mission of the company that we started this technology and product is to utilize advanced technology, artificial intelligence, to change the way children learn. And that is to focus on their abilities and interests rather than one size fits all. And that's an important mission for us. And we continue working on making the educational experience better for children.
So walk me through what a child experiences. I'm a parent. I want to work with you. What do we go through? What do we do?
Sure. So when they get the Roybi Robot, it's kind of like a virtual tutor for kids, because it has voice recognition. It can understand what the child says. It comes with over 500 lessons, 70 categories. And what happens is, on a daily basis, we have a list of lessons. Children can go through the lessons. One day they learn about chemistry, another day biology, astronomy. So we have a variety of lessons, and then we also create progress reports, and parents can follow that. They can also be in control in what their kid actually learns, because they can see on the app. I want to show you the app. In regards to the reporting progress. But what we are working on, which is our patent technology, is that once the kids go through these lessons, we will gradually learn about their interests, and we will utilize machine learning to make recommendation to kids based on their the interests and their progress level. And that will make it really exciting for kids. Oftentimes when you think about it, for me, when I was learning about like certain subjects at school, I've never used them to this date, in my life. I totally forgot about them. And I wish I knew more about business, more about finance. And these are the things we really want to help the kids to learn, because at school you learn basic finance. When you go to the real world, it's a totally different game.
It's so interesting that you say that, because it is true where I'm first generation born in America. My parents are from Haiti, and my dad's frustration was always students, I go, don't learn like they used to, meaning that they learn to take a test. They don't learn to have it for life.
Yes, absolutely. And right after the test, you totally forget about
Gone,
it.
absolutely gone.
Completely. And that's wrong. All these standards, if they were working, we wouldn't have this much trouble with the education system. And now with the pandemic, I keep saying the education is collapsing, but it is creating a lot of opportunities to actually make a difference in this.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I'm hearing frustrations. I mean, from the beginning of the year all the way through the end of the year, all the frustrations in regards of my kids are bored, my kids are on their phone, my kids aren't paying attention to the screen, the kids are fatigued. I'm like, well, they're fatigued because they are bored. A lot of the teachers are stepping up and coming up with creative ways to get people engaged and thinking outside the box. There are a lot of teachers that are using TikTok because the kids are on TikTok, so they're finding ways to do that. But then there's some teachers that are like, this is the way that I used to do it. This is the way I want to do it. And they're just going to do the, I don't know if you ever saw Ferris Bueller, like, or Charlie Brown's teacher's voice, like, wah, 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 wah. I mean, kids, if you're going to teach me, get me engaged. And I think that's not even just in school, that's in business and everywhere. When a client doesn't buy your product, it's because you're not engaging with them. And so it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. And the more this pandemic is continuing, we hear a lot of frustration because the kids are constantly glued on screens from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and it's not productive. So what we want to do is to promote learning through play, which is more active learning rather than passive learning, and take the kids off of the screens. One study we recently finished, it was a very, very small study through an independent researcher. One study showed that one child used 46% less of the screens when played with Roybi, and that is like an incredible achievement. They have fun. They regard Roybi as like a friend. They even take it to family gatherings with them, and that's a really active way of learning.
What is the age range that you're targeting? Because even at the beginning of your career, you started with doing a baby monitor. So you've been involved with the education and monitoring of children. And so why did you start with this target audience? So, I mean, obviously your target audience are parents. So why this group of people? Because your IA could have gone in any direction for anyone. And so that's number one. But also in regards of what's the age range and why did you go after that range for the robot?
Sure. The reason I started in this category, I think it really goes back to my personal experience and the ways my parents actually raised me. They spend a lot of time on my education and making sure I learn certain skills. For example, I started learning English language back in Iran when I was just a little kid, and oh my God, it made a huge difference for me when I moved to the US. I was already able to understand, read, write, communicate. And the reason I wanted to constantly make a difference in children's lives, it really goes back to how it impacted my experience when my parents paid a lot of attention to my education. But these days, parents are, really busy. It's so different than 30, 40 years ago. And then our product comes in as additional assistance to parents and teachers to help kids have a better way of actually learning. And in terms of the age range, right now we are focusing on early childhood education, ages between 3 to 7. We are going to gradually increase that age range as we add more content and languages. The reason we started in this category is, first of all, you see a lot of good products, tools in higher education, but early childhood education is missing a lot of opportunities, especially when it comes to advanced technology. And it's an extremely critical time in child's development time frame. And after a lot of research, we realized that our technology can really make an impact in this category. We started with language learning because we believe language is the building block of learning any other skills. If the kids can communicate, they can learn any other skills. And that's how it shaped our company, our mission. And we've been doing a lot of focus groups and doing a lot of research to continuously make the product better.
So the question that I was going to ask way before, here it is. You just said it, where 46% of kids, 46% of children are less on screen because they're with the robot.
One study showed, yes.
The one the study shows. But what about that whole entire concept of movement? So people are talking about how kids are in front of the screens, they're playing video games, they're on Zoom, they're not as active right now, they're stressed out, they're overeating, they're not exercising. There's all that negative to that positive that you just gave me. So what is that whole entire concept of how do we get the kids moving and yet still excited about learning? And what is the safety aspect? Because you hear about AI being hacked so many times. A parent walks away, they think, hey, you know what? I have a babysitter in this, like in the robot. What is it? How do you educate the parents about the safety, and as well as, is this a babysitter? Is this the new babysitter for their kids?
Yes, good questions. In terms of the learning aspect, as I mentioned, we promote learn through play. The way that our product is designed, and I'm sure some other products as well, is that we want to make this as like an edutainment platform. It's not like doing another homework. We don't want kids to feel that way. We want kids to have fun. And for Roybi, it's portable. It has batteries. It can go anywhere. And we have a lot of lessons that they promote dancing activities. You know, it just makes it really exciting. But at the same time, they also learn different subjects. And we found that these types of interaction is really beneficial for children. And then considering, it takes them away from the passive learning. They can actually talk more. 1 out of 12 kids in the US have some sort of speech disorder, and that's crazy. And what we want to promote is talk more, have good conversation, communication with a friend. And this, friend is a little robot. It is a curious robot. It has its own world, and it is going to help kids to learn together in regards to many subjects. For the safety aspect of it, yes, we hear this a lot, and we are COPPA and GDPR compliant. We also take security very seriously. Currently, we store everything on Amazon Web Services, which is one of the most secured environments. We are also part of Amazon Accelerator. What they do is they help us with audits time to time to make sure we are compliant. We actually have enough rules and policies on the security aspect of it. So on that side, it's always an ongoing effort. And we allow parents to also have control on what they want to do with Roybi. And I would say robots are not going to replace nannies or humans. They're assisting them to make their experience better. Oops. It just helps them to, in many ways. Well, it is talking.
It heard your voice and then it just started talking.
Since the pandemic started, we implemented some special programs. Now, because I put Roybi on its dock and it knows I'm not holding it, it just asked me to wash my hands.
I love it. That's perfect. That is smart.
We are the only robot having these sort of programs for children. And this shift actually happened during pandemic. We launched over 30 lessons and suggestions for children in less than 30 days.
All right, so this is a great little segue into the pandemic. So so you have 22 people all over the world. You've been doing very good in regards. I mean, I've always had a virtual team as well. It makes the most sense for me, and makes the most sense for you. How did you prepare your team? I mean, they're dealing with their families, they're dealing with their self, they're dealing with the company, and they want to make sure that the deliverables are done to make sure that the product in the company is evolving. How, as the owner, the founder, the creator, how did you balance all of that plus your own household?
It hasn't been easy, especially the first couple of months. It was really challenging because, we are not just talking about people's work, we're also talking about people's mental health, right? It had a huge impact on people because they were worried about their health, what's going to happen tomorrow, if they're going to survive this. It was quite scary, and people panicked all around the world, and it is totally understandable because it was a really new thing. Now we kind of got used to it, and we know the steps to take. But as the founder of the company, I had to come up with my team with some process. For example, we continuously talk. We have weekly global meetings. We have certain objectives. We have timelines to meet. We discuss all those. We even discuss our challenges on personal matter. We even want to know how our team is, handling their family problems. If there is something we can actually help. These are the some of the changes we made, and it has been helpful, but it has been also challenging because, as you know, a lot of things, for example, let's say we do manufacturing. Oftentimes we have to be on site to really see the product in our hands. We couldn't do it, so everything on video. It has been a little bit challenging, but I think we try to be more understanding of the situation and give ourselves a little bit more room. If we make mistakes too, it is okay. As a team, we can together resolve those.
How have you found ways to keep to find ways to engage with your team? I mean, because at the right at this moment, like, I mean, everyone is thinking about how the summer was, how the holidays are going to be. Like, I mean, people are just thinking about what to do together. We are all about being together, especially when you're a small team. How do you find ways? So how are you finding ways to bring your team together during this time? Because at the end of the day, people are getting tighter and closer because of the circumstance, because we're all in this together. I mean, to be able to say in our lifetime that the entire world is all in this together,
Yes.
it is a beautiful thing during a sad moment. So what are you doing to get your entire team to be all together?
Mainly, as I mentioned previously, we have weekly global meetings, and most of the time is video conferencing. And we try to even discuss difficult situation in more reasonable ways, and try again to help each other. It doesn't matter what title we have, what responsibility we have. This is the time that we really need to help each other, and we are continuously promoting that. And we've seen that gathering together, even we are celebrating something, we celebrate together over video conference. We didn't do this often in the past, and I realized it has been very effective in terms of team building aspects. So it has been quite successful.
Beautiful. So if you had to give advice to someone that was out there right now, so there's so many people that are either furloughed, they lost their jobs, they don't like their jobs. I'm working from home right now and I'm doing really, really well. And I realize I don't like that job that I've been at for the past 15, 20 years. So what advice would you give them? Because you've done very well in regards of investigating, doing your research, and finding that thing that was best for you. Give me 2 or 3 ideas or thoughts that you share with the world. What would you say to a person that is investigating, maybe this is my time?
I would really always say go for your dreams. And now, especially these days, the cost of starting business is not as high as before. You can actually start your business just online. You don't need, all kinds of certificates possibly. You can even, try to resell some products, resell your skills. I see a lot of webinars, a lot of like great content that people started doing during this time. A lot of people started even writing books or articles that are very, very helpful and informative. I would say work on your dreams. And this is by far, I believe, the best time ever to even start businesses because the cost is low. And there are a lot of opportunities, and there are so many people looking for creative ways to get informed. And I'd say be brave. Don't be scared of the ups and downs, which is normal. Even if you have a 9 to 6 job, still it could be challenging. Still there could be the risk, right? So on the side, people can really start building their dream and gradually transition to full time if it actually makes sense.
So you just said it. So don't be afraid of the highs and the lows. So what were your highs? What were like some of your highs and what were some of your lows? And how did you find ways to get around both of them? Because you get on the high and you're like,
yes,
it's kind of you kind of see the world differently, but then it's not realistic. And then the lows, how did you get yourself out of it?
Yes, it wasn't easy. When we were building the company, it was very challenging. And I constantly say that 2 times during the past 3.5 years, I almost personally went bankrupt because I didn't have enough cash. And all my cash was already in the business. I couldn't take it out. And it was very challenging. I had more than 200 rejections on the investment side. And finally, it happened. And I think one of the biggest reasons that we were able to do all these things is that, first of all, the support of friends and family, that was very encouraging. But also the fact that we are very persistent. If something is not working, keep changing it, making it better. Now we are, I'll give you an example. Now we are looking to raise our next round of funding. This same situation, many rejections, although now we have a lot of traction. Nobody really cares about that. There's certain areas we need to make changes. And we are continuously changing and making things better. And I think that's the way to go about getting out of the lows and gradually going up and up. But it's always up and down.
I always say that the investors, this is their time. They're always looking for that new thing because those opportunities that weren't there when when the economy is doing well. This is a venture capitalist, an angel funder, friends and family, a private donor that just like, I want to have my legacy part of something. This is their time that they're looking for you. They're looking for you. They're looking for the innovators out there because we do best right now. So
Yes.
in regards to when you're looking for that perfect person to invest or engage with your company, who's that person and how do you find them? Because so many people are thinking about, so many people just heard you saying over 200 rejections.
Yes.
Automatically they're risk averse and they're like, I don't want to be involved in that. So how do you find that person to finally get to that yes? Because you got rejected and then you kept on going and then you found that right person.
I see every rejection as a chance to learn something new. We made a lot of changes to our product when we were pitching in the beginning to the investors. And I am so glad we actually didn't launch the product the way that we were thinking about it. It would have really failed by now. But then we got a lot of feedback. I know the feeling of it is not good. even now, when we get rejected, it's like, oh my God, again. But all these really help us to make our business better. And when people give you constructive criticism, they actually care about what you do. So I'd say, for us to find that right person was that we went to a lot of conferences, a lot of meetups, talked to a lot of people. It's not that, you just talk to two people and the next day somebody says, oh, I'm investing $1 million in your company. It's really not like that. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and finding a person or institutional VC that actually understands your business and understands what you want to do, especially for early investors. This is really important because times like this, I can call my investor and also talk about the challenges and, pick their brains and see what we can do. And you really want to look for those type of people, not necessarily just money.
I love that you just said that because too many times people just assume an investor is all about just the money and not understanding that that investor has that money because they have a skill set that makes
Yes.
that money. And
Yes.
why would you not use those skill sets? And so going after individuals just for their money and not knowing what their background is, I think is just such a silly and it's such a waste of their time and your time.
Yes, and also oftentimes bringing wrong people on your team as investors on long run can actually hurt the business. So you need to be very careful. I know it is hard, especially like when you are looking for money, you are so desperately looking for some capital to move forward. I was part of it too, but I also learned, it's not just money, it's about so many other things that it can actually bring more money in the long run for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what do you think? What is your opinion about what the AI industry will look like in the next couple of years? I never say 3 or 5 years or 10 years. Again, 10 years ago, we would have never saw this happening right now. So, how does the AI and technology overall, how does it evolve from this point on? What do you see the future looking like? Because there's so many people working from home, so many people that are unfortunately they don't have the technology in their homes to work. So you're seeing the discrepancies in individuals that you're working with. Those individuals that you're thinking, oh, everyone's fine, and then they're trying to get online and they can't because of where they live. So what is that? What are you seeing, or how are you seeing the evolution of technology from, let's just say, in the next year?
Yes. I'd say we could expect a lot of innovation and innovative ideas come out in to actually help a lot of industries, especially traditional ones, to actually change gradually. And AI is going to absolutely change the world. I always say for the better, and it is going to really help a lot of communities, industries. One of it definitely is education. Another could be even health, and many other industries to get better and better. And I think as a whole society, gradually we are going to have a little bit better understanding about AI and not always being afraid of it, and understanding that the technology can really help us change our lives for better. And that's the mission of so many companies trying to utilize AI, but not necessarily taking over human lives, but actually adding values to that.
You just said the key thing for me because and the constant thought for me. I'm a former teacher, years and years and years ago. As a marketing strategist, I teach my clients, I teach my interns. I love teaching. I feel that when you have a skill set, you want to, and you know it, and you continually learn about it, as you mentioned, we want to make sure that we know what we do extremely well, and then we want to give it back. Um, Education has been the hottest button during this entire pandemic. I mean, it is in the forefront, not only for the younger students, but by and far the colleges. Colleges that parents are thinking, why and how can I justify paying for this school when my student is at home? And also those schools that are giving the opportunity to their older professors to retire early because the professors do not want to do this, but the students are going to the school for those professors. So how does technology help this situation of we want the greatest minds to teach the next greatest minds?
I think now that we are experiencing a lot of remote or hybrid learning situations, we can actually more connect people together. Even for us, for example, I've been participating to conferences and some events that in the past, those were not possible because we had to be there physically. Even we were saying, oh, can we do it virtually? Everybody was like, no, that's weird. We always hold the conferences in person. Yeah. Although we promote people connection, still this one-on-one people interaction is very important. But also this type of new way of learning in terms of online access is going to actually broaden the opportunities, and it's going to make learning more accessible to everybody around the world. But also, I always say, some apps, robots, and some programs can actually become an extension to teachers because, right now we have 69 million teacher shortage in the world. And just imagine if a robot can go and teach some kids somewhere around the world that they don't have enough resources, the impact would be just incredible. It would be amazing. But also a lot of programs right now can help teachers to focus on the core values that they can add to students rather than being constantly involved on like admin work, like assessments. These are the things that AI can actually do for teachers so they can focus on much broader scale.
What do you say to that teacher that is just absolutely adamant, like I go stronghold where I do not want to be involved in this at all? I go, if I can't teach this way, I'm not going to do it at all, knowing that the world is changing. What would you say, or how would you convince that teacher out there? Because there's a lot of educators that are like watching for the next new thing, and yet they're afraid, they're frustrated, they just want the old tried and true. So how do you change our minds?
I believe it's going to take time. Very similar to I remember the first time when iPhone came out. There were so many people saying so many negative things about it. Don't have it. I remember even some of my friends told me, don't even have it. Now we don't even live without our phones. Yeah. And this transition always takes time. And for those teachers, I believe gradually they're going to see the change. They're going to look for more innovative products because it can't be constantly on like computer or apps. You always need to create more ways, better ways for children to learn. And I guess it's just a matter of time for them to be one of the adapters.
What have you added to your company that you would have never thought about adding right now or ever because of the pandemic? Because you had this amazing amount of time running around, you weren't traveling as much. So what has been added to your company that has benefited your company in a way that you would have never imagined?
I think one big aspect is we added a lot of ways to collaborate more efficiently, believe it or not, because now we are all of us are remote, and if we are not organized, we can easily miss the deadlines. The quality of work would come down, and it could create a lot of troubles for the company. But it happened quicker than we actually thought. But we also made some changes on the consumer side. We also made some changes on our business model that I would never even think that I would think about these changes this early in our company. I can't go into details because they're still in progress, but those changes that we are making and some new developments that we are doing are going to be very helpful for our company and our customers as well.
I love that you have continued to find ways to grow the company. I love the fact that you have continued to know that you are tried and true in being an entrepreneur and you're not going to let that go. And I love that you're taking care of the family. I mean, you're bringing that family unit together, and they're staying with you because from the baby monitor all the way through, they're staying with you in regards of how do we keep aware of what's happening with our family and how do we continue to grow it, which I think that's absolutely such a fantastic thing. But what are you doing for you? Like during this pandemic, you're home. What have you done for you that you've learned something that's just like, you know what, I never had the time. So what was that new thing for you that you created?
Yeah, I started actually using YouTube more in learning new things. For example, I watch different channels that they have like small clips about the history or how a product was invented or what challenges some companies had, a lot more about finance and how to run bigger enterprise companies, entrepreneurship, so many things that I really didn't have time before because, you know, traveling takes a lot of time. I used to travel at least 80% of my time. Now I don't. So I have all this time to learn more about new skills or new ways of doing things differently. And I really like it. And I think that would be something that I would continue doing, you know, even after pandemic, because it helps me personally to think differently.
I have to say that the learning of new skill sets, I agree. I mean, like I was convinced like I'm gonna learn how to solve this, and I've been on YouTube and learning, and every night before I go to bed, I just learn 2 or 3 different things so that way I can actually learn how to solve it myself. Which, I mean, when do you have time to do that? It's such a simple.
I know. Very, very important. For example, some lessons you can learn. The other day I was watching a video about how JP Morgan built its company, and it's one of the biggest finance companies in the world. All the ups and downs, how he actually resolved them. And it was really inspiring because, you know, we are going through the same sort of challenges. And sometimes looking at these stories and history can really help us be inspired and say, if they did it, we can do it too.
Absolutely. I always say, like, I go, you always want to look at your older sibling and what mistakes they made. And then you're like, okay, I saw that. I definitely don't want to do it myself. All right. So I have loved this conversation so much. I go and I'm engaged, and I am very close to asking my last question, but I want to ask, how's your family doing in Iran? Because I mean, I have one of my dearest friends that I love Marjan so much. I have pomegranates all over my house. Whenever she goes away, she comes back and she gets me another ceramic. Oh my God, it's awesome. I love it. So how's your family doing? I go in, how is it? I mean, because obviously you're communicating with them, but how are they doing during this entire time? And how is it in Iran, especially with whether it's politics, whether it's the pandemic, there's so much going on and you're here. How are you juggling both?
It has always been challenging, you know, the past 15 years, and it definitely made things complicated, especially if we wanted to go back and forth. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to really go back. I only went back once, and that was about, I think, 14 years ago. But we continue the connection with our family members, but we continuously hear about a lot of, as you mentioned, political issues, or even like simple like a messenger app, you know, it gets blocked, and for a few days you can't hear from your family members, and you're constantly worried what happened to them. But now also with the pandemic situation, you know, we hear a lot of challenging stories from people losing businesses, or people, you know, having challenging time in getting enough supplies, and it's sad. But we try to keep the connection with our friends and family members. More my mom does than I have the time. So I have to admit that. But I personally, I really look forward to a day that, you know, these especially political issues get resolved, and we can go back without a fear of having problem. Because, you know, I have all my childhood memories, my friends back in Iran. I love the culture, right? And even in the US with my business, some of the most supportive people have been, you know, Iranians. They support the community. Everybody does. They they support the community, which is really nice to see. And hopefully we can one day have much better relationship without governments too much involved, because normally the people are different.
You know, it's one of the things that I say often is that we as people are just, I mean, look, we're fine. We're fine. We get to know you, we eat your food. We are absolutely fine. It is frustrating when the politics gets in the way of us being together. But we always find a way. We always find a way to be engaged and really understand what is important to us. And what's important to a lot of us is the people that we're learning from. The people, the food, the culture, the music, the sounds. I mean, literally like constantly on the phone with my friend and Marjan, and like, she just had a baby, and it has just been a blast to see all the cultural things, knowing that she can't see her mom, so she's dependent on Zoom or WhatsApp, and it's frustrating to her because the baby should have been at home in Iran.
Situation, yes.
Yeah, so yes, I totally understand that. So in regards to my last question to you, which I don't want this to end because your business is one thing, but you are so lovely that I'm like, oh,
you too. It has been amazing speaking with you. You have this amazing energy and gets me really excited to talk about everything.
Well, you know what? In full disclosure, and you knew this before, I worked in the media, and when I worked in the media, I mean, we talked to people. It wasn't like a 30-second soundbite. We talked to you, we got to know you. And if you ask anybody, if you hold up an iPhone, who is associated with that? Steve Jobs. If you hold up the O magazine, it's Oprah. Everyone knows the story of the products, but now everyone is quick. So I wanted to take this time and let you talk.
That's precious. Thank you.
So my last question to you is, if you had a personal ask and a professional ask of anyone and everyone that is listening to you right now, what would be your personal ask and what would be your professional ask?
I think my personal ask is probably tied to business because, you know, when you run a business, it's like your personal life and your business life is just one. But the ask that we have is, you know, we are constantly looking for people to give us feedback in regards to our business. We are looking for experts, like people in technology, in education, in AI. We also have some events that we actually host from the company. We bring on people that they can share to the world what they do, the benefits of their work. So if anyone is interested, you know, they have a business or personal skill they want to share, please do reach out to me. And on the business side, we are also looking for advisors and again experts to help us accelerate the growth and extend the benefits of our product to more children around the world. We are looking for connections in within schools for pilots, so we can share this fun experience of Roybi to more children around the world. And I'd be more than happy to talk with people that they'd like to be involved in Roybi as well.
Oh my goodness gracious, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
Elnaz, thank you so very much for taking time. I know you're busy. I know, like, I mean, Lily, you're in California. I'm over here. I do love Zoom and all the other applications that bring us together. So I really appreciate you sharing your story. And wait, can you hold up Roybi one more time? Because I want to, so that way everyone can see.
Roybi?
As cute as can be, cute as a button. So I love this. So, I mean, I really appreciate that you're doing this. I mean, as a former teacher, as a forever educator, I love that you're in this. I love that you're on this planet doing what you do, because
Thank you.
It's so appreciated and it's so needed, and more people need to hear your story and why you do what you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I appreciate you and the opportunity and the amazing person you are. I can really feel your energy, you know, and thank you for trying to listen to entrepreneurs, give us the opportunity to share our stories with everybody. And thank you for making the world a better place.
Oh my God, for us, for doing what we do, and we're going to continue to do that. So I am going to check back with everybody next year to see how you're doing, because obviously we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but we just don't know when and where. So I want to check back to see how you're doing and what's evolving on your end of the plan.
Thank you. And if there's anything I can or my team can help, please do let me know.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Hello, Roybi family. My name is Naseem. I'm Roybi's Program Manager of Education Technology. I want to briefly tell you about the reasons behind some of Roybi Robot's features and icons. Did you know why we had to hide this button under Roybi's hat? Well, while we want children to have control over Roybi's functions, we don't want the design to cause distractions or get children too excited with the possibility of jumping between lessons. Now, this icon is probably very familiar to you. It indicates that Roybi is ready to listen. With the pause between every discussion, your child is practicing taking turns with Roybi as well as listening and speaking skills. Each Roybi lesson is between 3 to 5 minutes, so children don't get too bored of a subject. Now, if a child does not have the right answer or cannot quite properly pronounce a word, Roybi gently moves on to the next question with comments such as, "Next, let's try something else." Because it is not a pleasant experience for a child to be told that she is wrong. But Roybi makes sure that the word is included in the report. Now, we want Roybi to be a friendly companion robot that teaches children through fun and playful activities that are designed for children, as well as its hardware and software. That's why we created the app for parents only. Your child is intended to only play with Roybi while you can be in the driving seat and have control of your child's education. But keep in mind, Roybi only tracks the progress through Roybi Robot and not the app. So please make sure that your child mostly plays the lessons by pressing the play button on Roybi rather than you directly playing the lesson from the app. This can help make children feel more in control of their learning experience. Now that you know all the fun facts about Roybi, you can create family activities with Roybi's lessons. For example, if you've scheduled the lesson on the solar system, you can ask your child about it during dinner to engage with them about their experience, just like you would do after watching a movie or a cartoon together. The fun can continue. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for being a part of Roybi family.